Hey y'all, welcome to another Shake That Us podcast. Today is a special one. I get to have my best friend and my beautiful lady on this podcast. I get to interview her. This one's a little different. We actually are on our way down to lunch, downtown Charleston, in the car. So there's just a little bit of car noise, but for the most part, I think you're gonna get the gist of it. We have an amazing conversation just about life and things that actually matter. And I get the pleasure of having these conversations a lot with Cristy, and I hope you enjoy them, and I hope you come with an ear just to really listen. Maybe listen in between the lines. My guess is you're probably gonna pick up some good nuggets that you can apply to your life, and I know she's really made a difference in my life. So would you welcome to the podcast, Cristy Pratt. Well, hello, Cristy. Welcome to the Shake That Us podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Excited to be here.
I'm excited, yes.
Are you ready?
I am never ready for anything. And everything all at once.
Nice. Well, I've given a little intro about you already, but we'd love to hear just a quick backstory. Just nothing crazy, because we'll want to get to the meat of it. But just a quick backstory on kind of what brought you to today. Not today. Give us a little quick little backstory.
So I was born 47 years ago. Clay, you can't ask me a question like that.
Okay, short backstory.
Okay, short backstory. I was born in Virginia Beach. I studied psychology in college. I ran away to Colorado. I bought a big house and did corporate jobs in pharmaceutical sales, which basically made me wish I was dead, and decided that I wanted to do something artistic. And so started kind of my own endeavors, a greeting card company, that kind of thing. I got married. I had two beautiful kids. Connor and Kate are 12 and almost 14 now, and they are the best of friends. And that was the most wonderful thing I got from a pretty difficult marriage. But we are good friends and a modern family, right? So it's all good.
Yeah.
I started a company called Morph Clothing. I am a fashion designer. Without 1 ounce of training, I've kind of taught myself everything I know, which could probably fit into a brown paper lunch bag. But anyway, I've got a company, and we're selling globally and doing all sorts of cool things. And I live in Charleston, South Carolina, where it's about to be very hot, and I don't like the heat, and I don't know what else you'd like me to say.
What's your company?
Morph Clothing.
Yeah, what do you do?
I create capsule wardrobe pieces for women that look beautiful on all shapes and sizes, and produce everything sustainably in the US, so only 2% of fashion designers and fashion companies actually do that. But I think it's really important, and I create pieces that can be worn 50, 60 different ways to hopefully get rid of fast fashion and help the environment and really look beautiful and look pretty fast, because God knows we don't have a lot of time.
Oh, come on.
Oh my goodness.
Well, thanks for that quick backstory.
Is that quick enough?
No, it's fine.
No,
So this is a little different. Obviously, we're on the road, and this is not usual, but we are heading to grab some lunch. So we thought we'd mix it up, or I thought I'd mix it up on this podcast instead of a Zoom call, since Cristy and I are together a lot of the time, that we just have this little discussion like we always do in the car when we're heading places, right?
Yes.
Pretty much wherever we are.
Yes.
We're always talking about something fun.
Yes.
And it's usually pretty deep, and that's actually one of the reasons why I want to have you on here is just the people that I have on here have made a difference in my life, and obviously you have in a big way. And so we just wanted to jump on here and kind of get to know you a little better and hear some of those fun insights that you give on life.
Well, I really appreciate a platform to kind of share my thoughts. And one thing that I appreciate most about you is that you're an incredible listener.
Yeah.
To be honest, I don't know that I've been able to share really who I am on a very deep level with someone that I'm so intimate with, and so I feel really honored to be listened to.
Yeah. So if you could choose one word to describe yourself, what would it be? It's an easy question.
See, this is not fair.
Easy question. What comes to mind?
Authentic.
Authentic. All right, that's a good word. I would agree with that. You're very authentic. People either like you or they don't.
Well.
But most people do. That's the thing. Like you're polarizing, but the people that more so polarizing. Like, are we going straight?
After this light, you're gonna veer right.
Okay. I can cut that piece out.
I don't care.
So as far as polarizing, I don't mean like you come across as like a mean person by any means. I mean when you're out and about, just because of your look and your mohawk and things like that, the people, either they stay away from you or they're kind of drawn to you. And so whenever we're out, a lot of times people come up to you and just be like, oh man, I love how you look and all this kind of stuff. So it's kind of fun.
Yeah, people are really, really nice.
Yeah.
Really nice to me and really kind.
Yeah, I agree.
I think they are really generous with their words, and I know that I'm generous with my words and my thoughts, and I know for me, I just want people to feel seen, and I think many people are overlooked so often, and just meeting somebody in the eyes and saying, I love your hair, or your earrings are so cute, or trivial stuff sometimes, but just if you ever feel it on your heart to say it, say it. Never ever hold back.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes I wish I did have a little bit more of a filter, not in those regards, complimenting other people, but there really is no distance between my heart and my mouth. So yeah, I guess I say what I feel, but I think for the most part I've been really embraced by people.
Yeah, one thing that I've learned from you, and I knew it before but understood it, is the concept of like just good energy, as far as positive and negative energy, and you're right, we only have so much time on our hands, and honestly I only really want to surround myself with people that are positive, have that positive energy. Can you just like talk about what that means to you, like having like good energy and how that comes across to people, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know if my energy personally is positive or negative. I'm a very deep person, and I feel tremendously, which is sometimes a tough place to be in this world. I can walk into a room and I can feel somebody who's deeply sad, or I suffered a loss or whatever, and I can feel that, and it affects me. So energy is an interesting thing. For me, it's palatable. It's something that I can feel and I can tap into. I remember when we were first together, I think that scared you a little bit.
Oh yeah, no doubt it freaked me out for sure. Yeah.
Like how?
Where I'm like, how do you know that?
Yeah.
Like I'm feeling that way, and you're really like, either you say something that would hit me, and I'd be like, oh my, like, how do you know that? But you do have an incredible feeling, and I've seen it. I've been a witness to it so many times around people. I've seen you talk to people where you just get them, and they look at you like their eyes get bigger and they kind of pop a little bit, and they're like, how do you, like, not how do you know that? I've never seen anybody say that, but it's like they feel like you get me,
Yeah.
And that's a really cool thing when people are seen, on a deep level, because sometimes people don't even know. Like I know for me, a lot of the times, like making sense of like sometimes of who I am or who I even like am supposed to be is hard to like clarify. And I feel like, okay, that's a little confusing, but sometimes we don't even know ourselves. And sometimes other people can look at us on the outside and be like, oh, well, this is who you are.
Right.
Yeah.
But
for ourselves, we're kind of have blinders on, but for you to be able to see and look into and be like, hey, you actually, this is who you are.
Yeah.
This is who you're supposed to be. Not
Yeah.
just but for me, but I've seen you do it for other people.
Yeah.
It's very confirming.
Yeah, I think I joke around a lot with you. Like I'm not good at a lot of things, but I do have a sense for people and a sense for their potential. And I think the truth of it is that I've always felt very connected to God ever since I was a little child, and I grew up in a fairly traumatic home. So I didn't really seek the approval of other people. I've always felt fairly confident in my own spirit and my own style and my own energies and passions. At the same time, I've never felt all that connected to my successes or things on the physical plane that I think most people would feel proud of or whatever, getting into great schools or PhD program or whatever, like those types of things never really did it for me because they were just letters behind a name, or they didn't define who I was. And quite honestly, I think when people do feel defined by their successes, then they're bound to lose them in many ways. When we identify with things that are fleeting, we need to be pretty careful, I think, because it's like building your house in the sand, right? I think that's a dangerous place to be. And so for me, where I connect deeply with people is from their heart. There's a term in Hinduism called namaste, which probably a lot of people have probably heard, but basically what that word means is that the God in me sees the God in you, and when we are both in that place, we are one. And that is essentially how I connect with people. And I always say I'm an introvert, and everybody says that's absolutely not true. And I guarantee if you met me somewhere, you would not think I was an introvert. That said, I am a deeply introverted person. I need lots of time to kind of reconnect and refuel and all of that stuff. But I do have very special conversations with people where I can see them and I can see their potential. And it also leads to a sense of sorrow when I realize that they aren't living in that space. Not that all of us are always living in our potential and whatever. Hell, there's 1,000 things I could be doing better or whatever. But I connect with people there because I can see their beauty and their sweetness, and I can see if they lived without fear what they would be doing or how they could be transforming the world. And I share those things oftentimes, and people can take it or not. I think that's what you mean by polarizing.
Yes.
Like, if I feel compelled to say something, I don't say it because I feel like I need to hear it. I feel like it's supposed to be said, even at my expense, I guess, sometimes. It's like, okay, this is going to sound weird, but here goes. But my goal is not to make friends. I have people in my life, a handful, and I love them dearly and they love me, and you are a huge part of that. And so I'm really not out to want people to like me necessarily. And I think that that's a weakness in a lot of us, and a lot of this very cheap and fast and short kind of existence where everything's on social media. We just want to be liked. And when I hear somebody talk about that, like, I just wish I was invited to that party or something. I mean, I have to think, like, do you even like those people? Do you really respect those people enough to want to be invited? Or, I just feel like people should genuinely rely more on their own spirit and need a little bit less from the outside.
Yeah. How important is faith to you? How important is God to you in your life? I mean, I know the answer to that, but I want to hear it from your words.
Look how pretty this is. Gosh, this is gorgeous. Guys, we're going over the bridge here from Mount Pleasant into downtown Charleston, and it is just a beautiful harbor. But anyway, faith to me is everything. I really don't know how to live without it. Ever since I was born, I felt deeply connected to God. more so than to people, to be quite honest. Everything is faith to me, and I think I've realized the difference between faith and hope. I think a lot of us, when we pray, we hope for things, and I hope this works out, and God, please, let me get this job, or whatever. I hope my child isn't bullied or whatever. And I think that what I have learned in this lifetime, and like I said, I'm almost 50 at this point, which sounds crazy. For some reason, I never thought I'd be sticking around that long, but I'm so glad I have. It's only getting better. But for me, faith is an essential part of my life. I make every decision on faith, and faith is not expecting a certain outcome through prayer, God, whatever it is you pray to. For me, it's Jesus. He's my person. But you can't be attached to the outcome, because we can't understand what good and bad things are. Sometimes things appear to be very bad, or prayer is unanswered, right? And what a blessing that turns out to be. But it's our smallness that we can't really grasp what God is doing, but we have faith in it anyway, that it is better than our plan all the time. And then I say that, I go, oh dear God, please don't let my children get sick, or don't, I start to, I don't really have it figured out yet, God, but I know the path to it. And it's a part of my life to the core, for sure.
One thing that we were talking about, this is I think a couple of weeks ago, was talking about how we grow in our faith, and I had sort of like a light bulb moment for me when I was talking to you, because I've always grown in my faith with typically through struggles, through hard times, things aren't going well. Okay, I need to lean on God. I need to pray. I need to do all this stuff. And when things were good, not that I wouldn't, but it wasn't really a priority for me, if that makes sense.
Sure.
But one thing that I've realized about myself lately is that almost for the first time in my life, I'm growing out of joy. Not out of struggles, but
right.
out of blessings.
Mm-hmm.
My faith has grown in God more.
Yeah.
So it's not about, I think, and I think that's a maturity for us as followers of Jesus, to get to that point where God doesn't want us to struggle.
I know.
He doesn't want us to struggle. He wants us to find joy in this life.
Absolutely.
And to be able to find joy and also still have your relationship with God grow stronger, I think, well, for me, it's a beautiful thing for sure.
It's kind of everything. If we don't have to be pulled to our knees through sorrow and loss to cling to God, but find Him in the everyday small things of watching you be a parent to Luke, or listening to my kids laugh until they're going to pee in their pants. I mean, you think about all of these joys that are around us all the time that we fail to see. And I do feel like you, that I am being brought closer to God through joy, but through the gratitude of joy. It's good things happen all the time, and as soon as they happen, sometimes we're afraid we're gonna lose them. So we hang on tight, and then we don't enjoy the pleasure and the gift of good things. So those things are wasted, and we do have to be brought to our knees and reflect and go, gosh, if I only whatever, I appreciated that more, and for me, I can't live in regret. There's just no way. And so I'm incredibly grateful, and I do feel closer to God more than ever through joy. And a lot of that joy comes from being seen by the one person I really care about in this world to be seen, which is you. Someone I deeply respect and love, and wants me to be more of who I am, which has never really been the case, I have to say, in this world. That I realize that I've always been different. I've always listened to the beat of my own drum, but that can be a lonely place sometimes. And to be with somebody who wants that to flourish and is really special. And I've grown tremendously because of it, I have to say. I'm going to be me regardless. I feel like I
Yeah.
haven't changed since I was born and all of
Yeah.
those things. But my God,
Yeah.
it sure is nice to feel loved and appreciated
Yeah.
for that.
Yeah. Speaking of like being me, what you said that you feel like, you believe you've always kind of been like that. You've always been Cristy.
Yes,
You know, this
always.
is who you are. Like, we met up with some of your friends from a long time ago, and this was, they explained you. I mean, explained you to a T. Exactly how I know you was how they knew you.
Right,
And
from
this
20
was
years ago.
From 20 years ago. It's like, okay, yeah. And so, but one thing that has been really fun, like for me in my journey, and
You're going
is
to take that one over there.
yeah, is to, and I even felt like it too, is that I haven't changed. Like,
Yeah,
since I've been with you, I've just become more of who I am.
absolutely.
And that concept is also new to me. It's like, oh, I gotta change, I gotta be this for this person or whatever it may be, but that's never the case.
Yeah.
And if you could just kind of share a little bit about, like, I know we've talked about relationships a ton, obviously, because you and I are in a healthy, in a just amazing relationship, and we talk all the time. That's all we do is talk,
Yeah.
talk and talk. But I love it. We have great conversations about things that really matter, because we're both deep people, you know. But how you helped me understand the concept of like becoming more of who you are, like talk about like relationships, and like how sometimes we bring like stuff to a relationship, but you kind of lose a part of you too when you're in that relationship. Yeah, I got it.
Okay, I just didn't want you to miss this one. Yeah, so I think that's something that I know that I've discovered, and both of us have been in long marriages that were pretty dark and pretty painful. And I think that what I've learned more than anything is that because I can't really be anyone other than me, and like I said, that can be a lonely place when that's not appreciated. But what I realized in relationship with you is that I haven't had to lose any part of myself, or was I willing to, for the sake of a relationship. That I know who I am deeply to the core, and I love who I am because I feel like I'm living in God's plan for me. Just after this light, it's going to be on the right. But to watch you in a place that's safe for you to grow, where you can disagree with me, you can open my eyes, you can say something you regret and apologize, you can be afraid of me sometimes because I can see you, and sometimes we reflect back what we don't necessarily want to see. All of those things, here you go babe, just through there. If we aren't living authentically, then some part of us is dying. If we aren't living in our full freedom to be who we are, exactly who we are, and that doesn't mean we're perfect, but that means that we apologize when we screw up, that we cherish and honor the other person. It doesn't mean you just get to be you and be a nightmare and he gets to be him and be a whatever. It's when you're living in your highest self and you know that to be true, that while approval from someone else, from your person, is wonderful, you can't live for it. You can't live to be loved by someone else. You have to love yourself and be in harmony or next to another person you cherish and love. And like, all I want you to do is be more of yourself, of whatever that means. Be truer to you than you are to the relationship. Be truer to your own spirit, even if it goes against my thoughts or my personality or my this or my wants or whatever. Because when we hold people back from living their truest self and living authentically for the sake of a relationship, then resentment grows, and there becomes a void between the two people. And I think that it's like Khalil Gibran has a saying about marriage, and he says, and I'll screw it up of course, but something about like the mighty oak and the cypress, they stand side by side and grow side by side, yet not in each other's shadow. And I feel like that's where we are, and it's my wish that everyone could feel that and feel a sense of acceptance for who they are, and change is inevitable when you do, by the way. Like when we're not loved and we're not accepted, we hold on to our junk so tight because we feel defensive all the time. And so we dig deeper and deeper into the crap that keeps us stuck. And when you are free to be exactly who you are, then you're free to say, I'm not that anymore, and throw it away. We don't have to hold on to it anymore. We don't dig ourselves a deeper hole for the sake of keeping a relationship together. And I think that's one of the most precious things that I've learned, for sure. And to do that with you and with someone I love so deeply and respect immensely is just a really cool place to be, for sure. Yeah.
Well, we have arrived.
Oh, wow. Well. I don't know about that, but we're going to get some Cuban food.
Yeah, I'm super grateful for you, Cristy. I think I'm going to have you on the podcast again. We've got lots to talk about.
Yes, we do.
Thank you for sharing a little bit and letting
You're
people
welcome.
get to know you a little bit better.
You're welcome. Thank you.
I've really enjoyed it.
I feel honored to be here.
Thank you.